Hey guys, on YouTube. Now, I've been asked to make a video by several people actually about the Mustang 3, the amp that I'm using. Now, I'm going to go over some of the pros and cons, what they're all about, and basically my final verdict is that it's a great amplifier. It was only just over 200 quid, I think, when I got it new. And that is not much at all. It's pretty cheap, and for what you get, it's amazing value and a great amp. Okay, so that's my final verdict. But how do I get to it? Well, there's several things to note about the Mustang 3. First of all, it's a modelling amplifier. Okay, so it doesn't have its own specific sound as such, but it simulates different amplifiers and effects, cabinets, and that kind of a thing. So you create your own patch, and the possibilities are pretty much endless for different sounds. So you know, that's a good thing, or it is to me. And the most of the simulations sound pretty good as well to my ear. I can't speak from experience from using the other amplifiers, but I can tell you that the tones that I can get out of this sound good. Even if they don't sound like the original amplifiers, they sound good to me. So they work, you know. So that's good. The effects sound pretty good as well. I've heard talk of the phaser and the flange being the wrong way round, being labelled wrongly, like the phaser is the flange and the flange is the phaser. But I don't really know. I'm not sure about that. Now, the other major point about this amplifier is it has USB connections. Okay, so you plug the USB cable in, as you can see here. It goes straight into my PC. It's in now, but I'm recording from my webcam mic. And what that enables you to do is you can record straight into DAWs like Reaper or Audacity, Pro Tools, anything that you've got. And the signal, of course, is completely clean and straight from the amp. So it's the same signal, same sound that you get as plugging your headphones into the amplifier. Now, the good thing about that is you can get crystal clear recording, and you can also edit perfectly afterwards in your DAW, but the cons of that is that you're going to get two different tones when you create a patch. Okay, so if, say, I record a patch like this, I called that Rory because it's kind of my Rory Gallagher tone that I used for Walk on Hot Coals the other day. Just without my pedals kicked on. But if I create something like that, I have to be aware that it's going to sound different through my amp, through the speaker in the amp, as it's going to do on the PC. So if I want to record it for a video, I'm going to have to create the patch through my PC speakers rather than through the amp, because it's two different sounds. If I want the same patch on my amplifier, then I create it through the amplifier. Okay. It's the same process, it's just which method you're using to listen to it as you're creating it. Okay, so you've got to bear that in mind. I have heard that apparently the more you use the amplifier and the speaker beds in, and it will sound more and more like the tone that you get through your speakers. But as of yet, I don't use the speaker in it that much. I use mainly the USB, so I can't speak for that too much yet. I can't tell you that it's moving at all, really. I can't see any difference from when I first bought it, but maybe that's just because I'm not playing loud enough. I'm only in a bedroom. That's the other thing, it's very loud. My volume here is on 2 and 1 is off. Okay, so I'm basically on 1. If I go up to 3 or 2, so that's ear splitting in the room. Okay, so 10 is pretty much out of the question. This is loud enough to annoy the neighbours. Very, very loud. Okay, so it's got enormous amounts of volume for you. Now, some of the cons. The biggest con for me is indeed what I've just mentioned about having to create a tone through the amp or through your speakers. The other con is that you have four little thingies Okay, I'll call them thingies for now. You get a stomp, you get a modulation, a delay and a reverb. Now you can have all of those active at the same time. You can see the lights coming on and on as I press them. You can switch the stomp off, the mod off, the delay off or on. So I can have them all active at the same time, but I can only have one of them active. So if I go into modulations, I can select chorus, triangle chorus, flange, vibrato, tremolo, modulations, step filters, phases, but I can only pick one at any one time. Okay, so I can't use two. Now that's not too much of a problem because you don't very often want two of those on at the same time. However, things like overdrive for the stomp boxes, in that menu there's overdrive, touch wah, fuzz wah, and then compressors. Okay, now the problem there is you can only have a compressor or an overdrive. You can't have a compressor with your overdrive or your fuzz, and compressors are pretty handy, particularly with things like strats, so that's quite a major downfall really. It'd be very nice to be able to have a compressor on whenever you want it and have that in a separate section. I do not like touch wah, that can go away. Okay. The advantage though is of course that if you've got a pedal board and you've already got a compressor, it completely nullifies the problem because you can just kick it on in front and you've got your compressor. As such, okay? As I say, mostly I use my my Mustang through the USB. Now, the problem with that is, if you listen to people that record via USB a lot, like, you can often get a very flat tone, okay? If you listen to some of the videos on YouTube and other websites, there's a lot of great players that use USB to record and it still doesn't sound very good. And if you listen to the overall effect, it kind of sounds very thin. It doesn't occupy much space. And now the ways that I combat that in my videos, or I'm learning to, I can't say that I'm a master of it and I've only started doing it recently, but I will record over a backing track and then I'll add stereo effects. There are plugins in Reaper, JS Stereo and JS Stillwell Stereo Width that I use all the time now. The stereo just is one bar, that you know, one tweakable bar, goes left and right, and it seems to add a bit of a delay. I usually push it to the left almost all the way, not all the way because then you're stuck in one speaker, but almost all the way, and then I put the stereo width on, turn the center gain and the normal gain down and the stereo width up, and then I pan my guitar slightly to the right. What this does, it'll embed your guitar into the track rather than making it just sit there right in front of you. If you listen to a lot of recordings by USB or by microphone, by, you know, we're all amateurs, but by us, okay, the guitar, it'll be like a guitar is playing and a bass is playing and a backing track's playing. They're not all merging together. With a stereo, it blends them together like you're listening to a track, like on the radio or an MP3 or something by somebody or some band. It'll just make it more of a song rather than just, you know, three people playing together. Okay. Another good thing to do is put an EQ on the master track. Say I use Reaper, so I'll get the master track and I just put a 4-band EQ on, and then I will boost the bass a little bit in it, and so that it fattens everything up a little bit. And that's a great tip for using USB, to add those kind of things and listen to everything as a whole before you export and upload, because it can sound pretty nasty without. Lots of my videos do. If you look at my early videos, some of them are terrible, but as I learn, they're generally turning out better Also, a good idea is adding reverb to everything, just very low. It pushes everything together a little bit. As long as you're operating in stereo, you've got things going on in both speakers panned, then it's going to sound better. Also, if you've got a backing track, you can add the stereo width to that too, and then you double track it, and you put 100% left and 100% right, and you just listen to how much more space you're taking up. And when your guitar's somewhere in the center of that, it sounds 100 times better than what you did before. So try that. So all in all, Mustang 3, there's an awful lot you can do with it. This is the Mustang 3, by the way, the one with a 2-button foot switch, which I don't really use very often because I just sit right next to my amp and I can press the buttons anyway. Few software is great that comes with it as well. It's not completely necessary, but it's handy. You can upload your tones so that other people can try them, things like that. You can get tones from other people, but your best tones generally come when you start making them yourselves, assuming that you know you don't go overboard with the effects. But yeah, that's my little review of the Mustang 3. A few ways to use it. The presets that come on it are pretty good too. Only I sort of like my own tones nowadays, so I kind of make my own. Anyway, that's the Mustang 3. I hope you like that. I hope it gave you some food for thought. And if you want to buy one, then I highly recommend it. It's got a lot of kind of boom in the room. Excuse me. I won't go over my tones, but you can hear them in my videos. But yeah, as I say, it's quite bassy, it's quite boomy. It's certainly not a quiet amplifier, so give it a try. Okay, thanks. See you later.